So my question is, honorable members who protested with placards here, I want to ask, did they write letters to their own finance ministers to say, hey, what are you doing? Why did you not take this up in GST Council? Much before I go to Delhi and scream about it, I want you as a representative of my party running this government in this state to make sure that the GST Council will only take a decision which we want. What stopped any one of them to do that there? To just make sure an opportunity which came by their side because some minister wrote a letter and somebody who was a part of the delegation who, without the permission of the minister, put it out in public domain. And then, with due respects, everybody comes in, inclusive of some chief ministers, to say, oh yeah, I am also supporting that. You should now withdraw it to the finance minister, who's a chair there, all right, but part of the GST Council. I wish individual states, chief ministers or members of parliament write to their respective finance minister and say, go now. Make sure the next GST Council meeting takes this up. No, they didn't do this. हिंदी में जो बोलते हैं, राजनीतिक रोटी सेकने के लिए इधर खड़े हो जाओ और वो निर्मला सीतारामन, वो मोदी जी, ये क्या तरीका है? मिडिल क्लास उनके हेल्थ प्रीमियम के ऊपर आप जीएसटी कलेक्ट कर रही हो एंड ऊपर से 25,000 crores. No sir, I am not yielding. I heard all of them.
One second.
ऊपर से
One second. He has a point of order. Point of order. No.
Sir,
she's not yielding. She's not yielding.
Sir, I'll finish this and with your permission, I'll hear all of them. With your permission, I'll hear all of them once I finish this.
Okay.
Aadha adhura nahi chahiye. I'll seek your permission, sir. Even today, honorable members, when they spoke, they said, this is daylight robbery. I heard 3 honorable members say, daylight robbery. I want with due respects to submit, sir. We may agree with a particular taxation. We may agree with a particular rate in a particular taxation which has been on a particular item, or we may not agree. But that is a constitutional body as much as the parliament here. They have in their wisdom taken a call. We may agree, we may not agree, we may go and say, no, this is wrong, you will reconsider. But to call it daylight robbery, sir, in which their own finance ministers are sitting, sir, and with their signature it has been cleared, sir. Daylight robbery, constitutionally formed GST Council में daylight robbery हो रही है, sir. और वो बात इस सदन में बोला जा रहा है. I'm sorry, we need to look at what is going on. Sir, 24,529 crores have been collected. All right. 50% goes straight away to the states. The rest 50% comes to us. And the rest 50% may say, again 41% goes to the states. So, if I have to bring it down simplistically, if 100 rupees is collected, first 50 rupees goes off to the states. Mera hissa another 50%. Usme se be 41% is given, meaning some 21 rupees 09 whatever, let us say, round it to 21 only, if not 22. 50 plus 21, 71 rupees आपके हाथ में रखे हुए इधर बात कर रही हो मोदी सेंटर 24,000 ले लिया आपने मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस. Let us have some, I don't know if I'm using the right word, सबर रखें, right? थोड़ा सबर रखें जी, अध्ययन करो जी, उसके बाद का बात करो जी, मैं जवाब देती हूं. अरे आकाश में से उड़ा दिए नंबर. और जीएसटी का अलोकेशन किस तरीके से होता है इसको समझना चाहिए. सीधा इधर आपके ही फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को बाईपास करते हुए पूरा पार्लियामेंट के ऊपर हमला. Parliament cannot bypass GST Council and say, oh, acha. They also, then some people come saying, bring in this finance bill, an amendment that this 18% will be brought down. Constitutional impropriety. There is a GST Council. उनका निर्णय करने वाले वो सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर आप इधर करने के लिए आ रहे हो भाई. Please, thoda process samajh lein. To see a matter which is entirely in the realm of GST Council is, sorry? Very much, sir. So have you, just as you've rightly pointed out, it is a reply which is addressing those points which have been raised during the debate on 3 different bills. One is the Jammu Kashmir Appropriation Bill number 3, and also the Appropriation Bill number 2, which has come from the Rajya Sabha, together with the Finance Bill 2024. So the Appropriation Bill of the Union Government and also of the Union Territory has been discussed since yesterday. I will respond to individual members who have raised their views on the subject. But broadly, keeping in line with the vote on account budget which was passed in February, the budget of 2024, presented on July 23rd, 2024, highlights and continues the feature that capital expenditure will be sustained, as was indicated earlier, at 11.11 lakh crores. And this will include 1.50 lakh crores, which will be given as capital assistance for the states, financial assistance to the states for capital expenditure, which is interest-free for 50 years. So actually 11 lakh crore itself is a big number, but if we look at the effective capital expenditure, that is, when our capital expenditure and also the money given to the state as grant and aid for creating capital assets, in our accounts it doesn't get counted as capital, whereas in the states it gets counted as capital. So if I were to look at both the capital assets, therefore, effective capital expenditure can be pegged at 15.02 lakh crores or 18% over 23-24. So we are continuously, since after COVID, emphasizing and spending higher and higher amounts in capital expenditure, partly answers the questions which was raised by Jairam Ramesh later. I have 4 issues, you answer on them. One of this, he probably implicitly agreed that this is one engine which is anyway happening. But that engine is happening in full throttle. And as a result of which, it has a bearing on the private investment, on consumption, and in a way also helps in pumping exports. So this one big engine consistently between 2020 and today, increasing more and more amounts, actual growth between one year and the other is also on a higher graph. So it is important that we've recognized that in an economy which is COVID affected, and that in an economy which requires to stand on its own, considering the global challenges which are mounting each year. Since after COVID, you had one war, then a second war, and both the wars have not abated. Then you have a problem in the Red Sea. Then you also have a problem of the global currency markets, and also the Japanese carry trade business, which has affected the trust in the global markets and so on. All of this are growing in the number of challenges that India has to face. We can always say global challenge and leave it at that. But each one of the challenge has an impact on India. And despite that, since after COVID, with this emphasis given on capital expenditure, whose multiplier effect, whose traction is so much in the economy, which is an established theory that you spend on capital and you reap the benefit of sustained growth. Whereas if you spend on revenue, you don't get that kind of a return. That is what is the multiplier effect. And that multiplier effect has sustained India as a fastest growing economy continuously since after COVID. And we shall be the fastest growing economy even this year. And that's not just me saying, global. So conflict-ridden countries like Sudan, Malawi, Burkina Faso, and Mali are all higher than us in the index. Pakistan too is higher than us in the index. Nothing wrong with countries being above us if they have to be there, and I don't grudge it. But then they are higher than us, knowing very well the economies there have serious basic problems. The index does not explain as to how these countries are higher. And when we say we've taken care of feeding the poorest of the poor and not getting into the numbers because they would say, oh, 80 crore of your people are poor. I'm not getting into that. But ensuring that nobody remains hungry, we have ensured distributing grains for 80 crore people since 2020. And it seems that the global hunger index has not taken that on board. Whereas when people are standing, the poorest of poor people are standing for corn and starch flour in Mali, in queues, and also for atta in Pakistan, that economy seems to be defeating global hunger index lower rankings and going up, whereas we are put somewhere below. So I would want to highlight to Honorable Member Digvijay Singh that you please question based on studies that you do in this country, and we are willing to answer, but this index is flawed. The global hunger index is flawed. Now, the recent report, National Family Health Survey, that is 2019-2021, the nutrition indicators for children under 5-year-old have improved compared with NFHS 4. This is NFHS 5 that we are talking about. NFHS 4, which was the period to which it relates is 2015-16, whereas this one that I'm talking about is 2019-21. Stunting has reduced from 38.4% to 35.5% in India. Wasting among children, wasting has reduced from 21.0% to 19.3%. Underweight prevalence has reduced from 35.8% to 32.1%. These are very, very riveted numbers, which if we have to remove and bring them lower, a lot of effort is required. These are very, very entrenched numbers. But now these numbers are showing that there is a clear sign of coming down. It is because of nutrition reaching these families, and therefore this hunger index has got to be reviewed, and I wouldn't want Honorable Member Digvijay Singh to rely so much on a flawed index. Sir, the next issue that he also highlighted was net financial household savings are lowest. So I want to highlight the fact that country is witnessing a lot of change in terms of smart portfolio diversification. Small savings are also finding portfolios which are giving them better returns. So they may not be sitting in a post office, or they may not be sitting in a public sector bank, a savings account, or small-time fixed deposit. They are finding different portfolios which are giving us probably better returns. Every individual decides for themselves. They're also investing in property and property improvements. So they may be living in a small house which has a bedroom and a kitchen and so on. Now they are investing in making one more additional room to their houses. So money is going not into the deposit, sometimes it is going for asset creation. Those don't get counted at all. And even better, sir, when we were talking about rationalizing capital gains tax, the number of people who came back to say, why are you now even bringing in a small increase in the futures and options, the trading that happens in futures and options? And I was surprised when people who told me were very middle class people. I said, futures and options, you'd expect people who have that kind of a disposable income to trade in futures and options. But people have become smarter. They are able to make sense of it. They're better informed, even probably to put money there and get smaller returns for themselves. And therefore today, small saving is alone not the portfolio. People have found different portfolios which are helping them. So I need to highlight the fact that financial household savings today will have to include, when you're counting that, you will have to include the other portfolios which are available for small families. So growth in housing sales in cities has been particularly impressive, indicating that urban households are diversifying the deployment of their savings. In 2023, residential real estate sales in India were at their highest since 2013, witnessing a 33% year-on-year growth with a total sale of 4.1 lakh units in top 8 cities. So people are moving to thinking in terms of having their savings become investment into properties and also into portfolios which give them better returns. So I want that fact to be taken on board by Sri Honorable Digvijay Singh. Third, sir, he spoke about unemployment is increasing, labor-intensive sectors like textile sector is being ignored, which is not the case, sir. And he did say only in this budget you're supporting textiles and leather, but not earlier. That is not true. Quite a few years we've been sustaining our interest and making sure that support is extended through various different ways for labor-intensive sectors. While I can go about telling about what is the periodic labor force survey saying on how the employment numbers are going up, unemployment coming down, but I will use this example of supporting women in the workplace, which we have done, which is showing result. So if women's data is improving, you can safely assume that men's data equally is going up. If I were to say the reverse, it may not be holding good. But female enrollment in higher education has increased by 32% since 2014. To see a matter which is entirely in the realm of GST Council is, sorry?
Are you yielding?
No, sir. I'm speaking, sir. Sir, actually, it is in the realm of the GST Council. No way by protesting here or telling that the finance minister should do it, the seriousness of what we are talking can be missed out. The seriousness of
protest is substituted for reflecting.
Sir.
In this house, we reflect and contribute.
And therefore, I would like to give the facts before this August House, sir. The point is, I had to say this and I will say it. Before GST 2, medical insurance premiums were taxed. I have quite a few voices which tell me, oh, so are you saying it was there then and you won't do anything about it? No. But I need to answer those issues which pretend to believe that it is all a sin which has come after GST has come in. I'm sorry, sir. It existed before GST. Let's address each one of the issues. I'm not here to justify this way or that way. Let the GST Council take a call now that they've heard all of us speak about it. But let us also not look the other way when the facts are before us. GST came in 2017. Prior to GST coming in, every state levied taxes on the premium collected on insurance. Let's concede that first. Let's have that before us. And if it is before us, would you now say, oh, because of GST and Modi brought this, how heartless are you? I'm sorry, hang on. Even in the GST Council after 2017, 3 times this issue was discussed. 31st meeting on 22nd December 2018. Again, the GST Council, which is 37th meeting, which happened on 20th September 2019. And 47th meeting, which happened in June 2022. This issue has been taken up by the GST Council. And who are the members who are sitting in the GST Council, sir? The finance ministers of every state. And together, all the states' finance ministers hold 2/3 voting power in the GST Council, and the central government, with the chair, has 1/3. So the decisions that are taken there are taken with inputs from every state finance minister. They can belong to any party. So my question is, honorable members who protested with placards here, I want to ask, did they write letters to their own finance ministers to say, hey, what are you doing? Why did you not take this up in GST Council? Much before I go to Delhi and scream about it, I want you as a representative of my party running this government in this state to make sure that the GST Council will only take a decision which we want. What stopped any one of them to do that there? To just make sure an opportunity which came by their side because some minister wrote a letter and somebody who was a part of the delegation who, without the permission of the minister, put it out in public domain. And then, with due respects, everybody comes in, inclusive of some chief ministers, to say, oh yeah, I am also supporting that. You should now withdraw it to the finance minister, who's a chair there, all right, but part of the GST Council. I wish individual states, chief ministers or members of parliament write to their respective finance minister and say, go now. Make sure the next GST Council meeting takes this up. No, they didn't do this. हिंदी में जो बोलते हैं, राजनीतिक रोटी सेकने के लिए इधर खड़े हो जाओ और वो निर्मला सीतारामन, वो मोदी जी, ये क्या तरीका है? मिडिल क्लास उनके हेल्थ प्रीमियम के ऊपर अब जीएसटी कलेक्ट कर रही हो, एंड ऊपर से 25,000 crores. No, sir, I am not yielding. I heard all of them.
One second.
ऊपर से.
One second. He has a point of order. Point of order. No.
Sir,
she's not yielding. She's not yielding.
Sir, I'll finish this and with your permission, I'll hear all of them. With your permission, I'll hear all of them once I finish this.
Okay.
आधा अधूरा नहीं चाहिए. I'll seek your permission, sir. Sir.
If not all, those who are willing to make contribution. Otherwise, I have to hear all of them.
I leave it to you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, then there was this whole report which was based on some kind of a parliament reply or RTI or whatever, which got carried in a newspaper also. 24,529 crores have been collected. GST was collected on medical insurance. 24,000. The center pocketed it, was the headline of that news.
24,000?
24,529 crores were collected as medical insurance premium. And this is pocketed by the center. Even today, honorable members, when they spoke, they said, this is daylight robbery. I heard 3 honorable members say, daylight robbery. I want, with due respects, to submit, sir. We may agree with a particular taxation. We may agree with a particular rate in a particular taxation which has been on a particular item, or we may not agree. But that is a constitutional body, as much as the parliament here. They have, in their wisdom, taken a call. We may agree, we may not agree, we may go and say, no, this is wrong, we will reconsider. But to call it daylight robbery, sir, in which their own finance ministers are sitting, sir, and with their signature it has been cleared, sir. Daylight robbery. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली फॉर्म्ड जीएसटी काउंसिल में डेलाइट हो रॉबरी हो रही है सर, और वो बात इस सदन में बोला जा रहा है. आई एम सॉरी, वी नीड टू लुक एट व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन. Sir, 24,529 crores have been collected. All right. 50% goes straight away to the states. The rest 50% comes to us. And the rest 50% may say, again 41% goes to the states. So, if I have to bring it down simplistically, if 100 rupees is collected, first 50 rupees goes off to the states. Mera hissa another 50%. उसमें से भी 41% is given, meaning some 21 rupees 09 whatever, let us say round it to 21 only, if not 22. 50 plus 21, 71 rupees आपके हाथ में रखे हुए इधर बात कर रही हो. मोदी सेंटर 24,000 ले लिया आपने मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस. Let us have some, I don't know if I'm using the right word, सबर रखें, राइट? थोड़ा सबर रखें जी, अध्ययन करो जी, उसके बाद का बात करो जी. मैं जवाब देती हूं. अरे आकाश में से उड़ा दिया नंबर. और जीएसटी का अलोकेशन किस तरीके से होता है इसको समझना चाहिए. सीधा इधर आपके ही फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को बाईपास करते हुए पूरा पार्लियामेंट के ऊपर हमला. Parliament cannot bypass GST Council and say, oh, acha. They also, then some people come saying, bring in this finance bill an amendment that this 18% will be brought down. Constitutional impropriety. There is a GST Council. उनका निर्णय करने वाले वो सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर आप इधर करने के लिए आ रहे हो भाई. प्लीज थोड़ा प्रोसेस समझ लें. Sir, and I'll humbly submit, sir, not only are the finance ministers of every state is sitting to take the final call on every rate which is determined on items, there is a fitment committee which looks into these things much before it comes to the council, before the ministers. The fitment committee is not made up of anybody which we choose. They are officers. It's full of officers. But every state is represented in one way or the other, sometimes some states, some others. This time, the current fitment committee in the GST Council has members from several states, and particularly from West Bengal, from Tamil Nadu, from Karnataka. They're all there in it. Fitment committee which decides on the matter of tax rates, before it comes to the GST Council, wherein again ministers are seated.
According to you, in this committee, according to you, in this committee, the representation is not of all states, but of some.
Selected. It's always in every committee selected states. Selected. And equal representation.
And in the current one, they were the members. Okay.
No, current one, they are members also. Sir.
Okay, I'll give opportunity. I'll tell you, Honorable Finance Minister, this is an issue on which there is need to be clarity. You are making a point impactfully, and will allow members after you have concluded, and then you'll have a right.
That you already said, sir. So, if I've named 3 states, it's not as if I'm ignoring the others. I'll give you the example. Current representation in the current fitment committee has Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Bihar, Haryana, UP, MP, and West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka.
Okay, they are
so it is not as if it is only some states and some others. And this fitment committee, for all you know, was constituted much before the election results came of the states. That continues. We don't disrupt it. Sometimes it changes, sometimes it doesn't. So the fitment committee consisting of officers are there where every state, most states get represented. In another committee, somebody else, some other states will come in.
Rotation.
So in other words, sir, I just want to say, another misunderstanding. The central government collects. No, the GST Council collects it. Immediately the amounts are disbursed. And the rest of the amount is according to the tax devolution, it goes. So that is the thing about medical insurance GST. Sir, Member Tanka, who opened the speech, Vivek Tanka, spoke about railway budget, and since after it was merged, that nostalgia of a railway budget, I can understand that. But I want to give the data for Vivek Tanka's notice that since after the subsuming of the railway budget into the main budget, allocations have not suffered. In fact, it's gone up. 2017-18, sir, post the merger, the actual expenditure budget, the capital separately, is 43,417.55 in 2017-18 crores, 52,837 crores in 18-19, and so it goes. In 2021, it crossed 1 lakh crore. Capital expenditure, I'm not talking about the other. 21-22, 11 lakh crores, something 7,270 crores. Then 15 lakh 9,256 crore. Going like that, today for 24-25, the current budget, it's 25 lakhs to 2,000 crores for capital in railways alone. So the actual is, the previous year's numbers are also there, it gets 99% utilized. So the bringing the railway budget into the general budget has not in any way made railways suffer. Sir, Vijay Sai Reddy, the honorable member, spoke about minimum bank balance, and when the balance, minimum balance has been kept, banks have been collecting penalty from account holders. So I want this to be laid clearly, that the minimum balance requirement does not apply to PM Jan Dhan account holders. It does not apply to minimum basic savings bank deposit that people hold, Jan Dhan account or the basic savings bank deposit. Both of them do not have any basic minimum balance requirement. So if they didn't have, no penalties are levied on them. No charges are applied for non-maintenance of minimum balance by the Jan Dhan accounts. In addition, banks also open basic savings bank deposit accounts where no charges are levied for opening of accounts, and in these accounts also no minimum balance is required to be maintained. Let's be clear. So not small account holders are being penalized for not having minimum balance. That should be clear. There are around 65 crore the basic savings bank account holders in this country, including of 52 crore Jan Dhan accounts. So none of them are, 65 crores are not being touched for penalizing you didn't have minimum balance in the account. So, in addition to this, the minimum, the Jan Dhan account holders are also given accident insurance of 2 lakh rupees and also a RuPay card with no additional charge for the RuPay card. Overdraft facility of about 10,000 rupees is also extended to them. Not only are we not penalizing them for not having a minimum balance, but we also give them this facility. So for other types of saving accounts, of course, the banks will decide based on what their boards approve. So they are not the basic accounts, they are not the Jan Dhan accounts. So I just want to highlight it, but for whoever they collect this minimum charge breaching, meaning you didn't have a minimum balance and therefore I'm penalizing you, information on minimum balance requirement is intimated upfront to the account holder. So it's not as if I can open a non-PM Jan Dhan account, a non-basic whatever account, and then say you didn't tell me but you're collecting minimum. No. Upfront, I'm told your minimum balance requirement is this, you'll have to maintain it. If you don't, we'll penalize you. It is said upfront by the banks. The largest public sector bank, sir, State Bank of India, as per its board approved policy, does not apply any minimum balance charges at all. So let's put this in perspective. So then, Honorable Member Shakti Singh Gohilji had raised this issue about you increase customs on plastic used by common citizens. On the other hand, you reduce customs duty on platinum. On platinum, I've explained as to why the duty was reduced. But I want to highlight the fact that it is not on plastic that we have raised the custom duty. It's not plastic. We have raised it on the commonly used plastic item, BCD, remains unchanged. What has been raised? The basic customs duty has been increased from 10% to 25% only on PVC flex films that are used for making flex banners. Flex banners are made with flex PVC films. Only that has been, the BCD has been increased. Why did we do that, sir? In fact, many states have already banned it. Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra have already banned the use of PVC flex. PVC flex banners, sir, are non-biodegradable, and they are prone to leaching of PVC into the soil or water, and therefore they release toxic fumes. This we didn't want, and therefore we've raised only on that film, PVC film, which is used for flex. I've explained as to why platinum benefits from a duty decrease. Vijay Sai Reddy also, Honorable Member, also spoke about the STT rates and reminded that if you had capital gains, there was a promise given once, long time ago when it was introduced, that STT will be now there for some time, but if capital gains is there, STT need not be there. But today, we have kept it there because, one, we are able to trace people who are big ticket spending. It helps in tracking, and it also helps in widening the tax base. Because once you levied a TDS or a particular tax, then when the opportunity comes to file your return, you'll anyway adjust this and file it. It's not an additional tax. But when you do this, you are able to bring people who are spending bigger amounts into the tax net. And that's why it continues. It's not for revenue considerations so much. Sir, I can't see Member Sanjay Singh, Honorable Member, who raised a lot of issues. But one or two things which I want to highlight, sir. Recovery. He expanded on haircuts, read a list of material. They are not classified material. They come out because NCLT puts it out or the resolution professional puts it out. They come out in public. We don't waive, and these are court processes. NCLT will have to stamp after the resolution professional decides on between the two parties as to how this will be executed. So recovery proceedings are part of a judicial process. The resolution plans are approved by a transparent judicial process. The defaulting promoter are not allowed to rebid for their own company so that we don't have them coming through the back door and getting it for lesser price now. These are all preventing wrong business practices. So I would like to highlight that all the details of the various cases are already available in the IBBI portal. So over and above what he read out, Honorable Member Sanjay Singh can go to the IBBI portal and take all the detail. They are there for everybody to see. IBC actually has brought in a very big shift, paradigm shift, in the debtor-creditor relationship, sir, and it provides for a streamlined one-stop solution for resolving insolvencies, keeping in mind the spirit of IBC, which this Parliament has passed, is not take company towards liquidation, keeping them as going concerns. So when you're doing that, the resolution professional arrives at a number which is going to be helping that institution to run. And let me also say, sir, most of all these are a result of what happened through the phone banking. And we are trying to come and solve these problems so that banks which suffered, the twin balance sheet problem which was all there between 2013-14 and to an extent even in 15, people telling us twin balance. Sorry, sir.
I gave you a good relief. Regarding phone banking,
Yes, sir.
I inquired last time, but this time I avoided asking about oil bonds. I studied it myself. So that question was not raised, at least from the chair.
Thank
so
you, sir.
What are you saying now? This is new.
Sir, I'm saying that when companies are on the verge of collapse and an IBC process brings in a resolution professional and decides the worth of the company and then puts it out for bidding or calls for tenders for the company to be taken over, the existing defaulting promoters never given a chance. After which, there are processes, like for instance, banks nowadays go through the process of giving the bad debt with a proper standard operating procedure to a company. The NR, the name is slipping me, sir. It's a company which takes over the bad debt, gives them a paper, and after when it is all sorted out, it is put out on sale, then the bank gets the rest of its due and its account. Till then, if it hadn't happened in a RCL process, if it hadn't happened, the banks would every year have to put money in the name of provisioning till such a time that money is collected. So this myth that is being created, waiving off, writing off, no, it is a process through which banks and the burden that the banks have, to provide for it, will now be actually given away to the NRCL, and NARCL then takes over that company, restores it to some order, and finds a buyer. Then the money is paid back to these companies. If this is not happening, and it is actually going in the name of liquidation, then the professional sits and sorts it out, gets the NCLT to review it, and stamps the amount which has been agreed. So there is no role of the government here. It is a court process. So I want, there are studies done by IIM Ahmedabad, which has looked at 3 years of post-resolution. Their average sales rose by 76%. Employee count recovered, and nearly pre-bankruptcy levels have been reached by most of these companies which were given off like that. Average total assets rose to about 50%, and capital expenditure has increased to 130%. So the resolution that he's talking about, and claiming all this is a huge haircut, I want to please ask honorable member to study what cost this. Then he'll know whether with this resolution we are doing a better thing, or if we had left it high and dry, whether the value of these companies would have been ever realized, or they all would have become junk in a junkyard. What is going to help the economy? We need to understand that. But coming from honorable member Sanjay Singh, I am unable to resist the temptation, and therefore I will have to say.
Ma'am, help if you can resist. Because if it is temptation, then the best and most wholesome is to resist it.
To resist it, sir?
Yeah.
No, but I would, for the benefit of the House, say it, sir.
That yes.
Here's an honorable member of parliament who's saying this. I'm not even talking about the present situation in his party, but before they won the election. And I say this with a sense of responsibility and a pain in my heart. Didn't they say they had a sack full of evidence against that former Delhi chief minister, a lady chief minister? A sack full of evidence. We can send her to the jail. That much material I have on her corruption. I want to ask, where is that sack now? Where is that sack full of evidence? It was all false claims. They went on speaking about it and somehow distracted the minds of the people. Today, they are talking about those companies for whom resolution is being made possible so that the economy can benefit? I don't know whether the sack full of evidence was evidence at all. Assume they were evidence. Why are you not using it now? And this party, which Honorable Sanjay Singh represents, didn't do any of that, gave false promises. If anything, I would like to ask him, it's an allegation which is now in the court. How much loss has the Delhi's government exchequer has faced because of the faulty liquor policy? It is a matter of the court. But I'm asking, you're worried about the haircut? You're worried about how much government of India and the public money is being lost because of the haircut? I'm asking, how much did Delhi government lose because of your faulty policy, liquor policy? So when this is there before honorable member, I would want him to have some kind of a discretion to understand what exactly is going on.